Good morning, YouTube. How you doing? This is Mike in Detroit. How you doing, everybody? Winter time here, and so we're all bundled up, but that gives us a little bit more studio time to work on this music thing. Today, as the title suggests, I just wanted to have a little talk with everybody out there. Kind of a pause. This is going to be more of like a podcast kind of thing about why it is that a lot of people who want to get into music of some kind, they just don't make it. They just fail. They give up. They quit. And so I obviously am not a expert on this, but I have a thought or two. But I want to invite a discussion down there in the comment section. What experiences have you had? I want to hear from music teachers and some of you who have you're on the verge of giving up or you have given up. Why is that? So I don't have any notes in front of me or anything. It's just going to be an off the cuff kind of thing. So let's start with the beginners. I heard a statistic that says 90% of people who try to play an instrument of any kind. Now usually I'm on my keyboards, but as you can tell from my other videos, I dabble with lots of instruments, guitar, cello, drums, saxophones, trombones, trumpets. I just happen to like music. So for the beginners, especially adult beginners, I think one of the main reasons people struggle is, well, there's several reasons. One is, as an adult, you have to be childlike. You have to play childlike things, like this. You have to do that. You have to go to kindergarten, then first grade, then second grade. The thing that could be blocking you is this need for instant gratification. You want to play stuff like this. And you've been at this a week or a month or... So unlike other things in our society is really pushing instant gratification. And music is never going to give you that. Every time you hear a commercial that says play piano in 30 minutes, that's a bunch of bull. I'm just going to be straight up with you. So to manage our expectations, and I'm going to give you kind of a slow couple of little thoughts that stick in your head, call them slogans, affirmations, whatever you want to call them. Here's the first one. It is better to play simple things well than to play more advanced things sloppy. Let me say that again. It is better to play simple things well than to play more advanced things sloppy. I don't care if you're a clarinetist or cellist or guitarist, or it's better to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. Better to learn that well than it is to be slopping around on Okay. The other thing is a lack of good instruction. So I heard this saying, which I don't agree with. It says progress, not perfection. And a lot of people say, yeah, amen. I don't. I want progress and perfection. I want both. So what do I mean by that? I mean that I am going to zero in and focus my practice in that on this measure, on this 3 bars, or on this thing I'm working on, whatever it is, I got that perfectly. Maybe I didn't get the whole song perfectly, or maybe so it's kind of hard to explain. You're never going to get everything perfectly, but you got that technique down. You got this down. You got that down. You got that brick in place. Now you can make progress toward the next thing you got to work on. Could be a scale. Stay right here until you get that perfectly. So if you kind of are honest with yourself and you say, well, I kind of got that, but I'm making progress. No, you want progress and you want perfection. But perfection is like micro, it's zeroed in on a certain little thing. On a certain little thing. Then you make progress to the next little thing. Maybe you want the E flat scale. Now maybe you want the A flat scale. Honest assessment, how did that go? Was it perfect? Well, it's never going to be perfect. Perfect is a relative kind of thing. But it's perfect in order for you to move on. That's what I'm trying to say. The last thing I think adults should be doing, especially at the beginner stage, is jumping to Hezekiah Walker or Coltrane and say, ooh, I want to play that. And skipping over some of their basic fundamentals. Now, if you play piano or guitar, I have videos on what to practice. So there is this combination of how to practice and what to practice. A good teacher will tell you, practice this. This before that, A before B, B before C, C before D. So there's a roadmap that most teachers believe in. And so you want to stick to that roadmap. A good book will tell you that as well. Now all books aren't good books. I made a video on at least on guitar. Here's some books, at least I think. And so a good teacher will look back over their development and say, I wasted my time on this or that. Oh, but that part really get that. When you're young and you're 10, 12 years old, you're open-ended, you got a lifetime in front of you. You have to really ask yourself, why are you doing this? What's your goals? Do you want to play in a band? Do you want to play at church? Do you just want to play for your own enjoyment? That's kind of me. So is this going to be a hobby for you? Or do you want to play professionally? So you got to kind of be clear with that. Now, once you have that long-term goal in place, now you want to do step by step by step. That's getting you closer and closer to that goal. Okay, beginners, intermediates alike, and that's all this channel is for, beginners and intermediates. All you advanced people, love you, but you probably already got this. Okay, I'm going to tell you something you probably don't want to hear. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how big your credit card is. I don't care how elaborate your studio is. I don't care how much equipment you have. I don't care how fancy the equipment is. There is no substitute for practice. You gotta put the work in. You just do. And every teacher I've ever heard worth his or her salt will tell you this. You gotta put the work in. No excuses. No, if I say you need about a good hour every day, okay, I'll give you 6 days a week. No less than 5 days a week. If you're not ready to put that work in, how in the world are you going to get results back out? That's why I never boo at a concert. I never do. I don't care if I hate the music. Because I look on that stage and I don't see people. I see thousands and thousands of hours of behind the scene practice. Ain't no way I'm going to boo that. I mean, how dare me if I sit there and boo a person who has worked for thousands of hours just to entertain me. So reverse that. And you know, I heard LeBron James do a commercial like that. He says, everything you see, there's a lot of things you don't see. The results of what you do see comes from the things you don't see. I said, yeah, that's true in music too. Now be realistic about your practice. Practice is boring. It's boring. It's boring practice. Well, you're playing the cello, especially if you're a beginner. It's not only boring, it's frustrating. Okay, as soon as you walk into your room, to wherever your studio, wherever you practice, the basement, the garage, wherever, you know going in, you're going to work, you're going to, somebody says, I like having fun. Well, music is not your thing. Eventually it's going to be fun, but to get to fun, you got to go through the mud. You got to go through, oh shoot, oh, that's not it. My fingers won't cooperate. My mind is ahead of my hands. It's just a mess until it all gets smoothed out. I don't know any way around it. I just don't. I wish I did. If I could just who wants to be frustrated and do boring stuff? Now, there's ways to make it more fun. Like I got all kind of gadgets and gear in my studio. I can hit a button, boom. Now I got a beat going on. Okay, that makes it more fun. But that too has its place. So take that on board too, that your expectations it's going to be step by step work, but you got to put the work in. You do. You just there's no way around it. Even the least little thing. I mean, years ago I heard this little run. I heard that run. That's a run based on E flat major. And I looked at the teacher and I said, there's no way in the world. There's no way in the world. He told me I'll never forget it. And this was something like 20-something, 30 years ago. He says, what do you mean no way? You just take it like this. Now you get that. Now you get this. Get that, now you get this. You see the idea? And then eventually you're going to get this. You got to go through the process, step by step, little by little, little by little by little. God bless all you teachers, you music teachers out there. because you have this balance you have to maintain, that you don't want to discourage people, but you want to push people. There's that sweet spot that a good teacher will get you in. That you're doing something that's encouraging you to do more, but you're not doing things that just get you stagnated. You're being properly pushed. That's a good phrase, properly pushed. Now, in our society, we like applause. We like, ooh, look what I did. Hey, mom, look what I can play. Hey, mom, look what hey, wifey, look what I can do. Hey, hubby, look what I can do. We love that kind of accolades. And as musicians, we're no different. Here's the part we don't like. Shoot. We don't like that part. But if we ever get it, oh my goodness, we want an audience now. We're like, okay, look at me, look at it, I can play this. So to be realistic, and if we don't get enough of applause, a lot of people will quit. A lot of people get pushed too fast in the areas they don't need to be in. They really don't. They'll get there eventually. Remember I said earlier, it is better to play simple things well than to be slopping through more advanced things. It really is. Another thing that's on my mind is pride. Music will humble your pride in a minute. As soon as you think you're good, you put some Joe Sample on or something like that, and you say, I gotta go practice, man. I thought I was pretty good. You could be playing your instrument for 20, 30 years, and you're still growing, you're still developing. So humble yourself. Don't let pride get in the way. Look at me. Look what I got. This. Look what I can do. Look. I can twirl my drumsticks and play drums at the same time. Look at me. Look at me. See me. That'll kill you. That'll get you. It'll also depress you too. So it'll get you all frustrated. And if you don't get a standing ovation every time you sit down at your instrument, you're gonna feel like I don't like this. And when you don't like it long enough, that's going to fester and you're going to quit. My suggestion is play for the joy of it. Just play for the joy of it. Oftentimes I'm sitting at my keyboard just doodling, like a sketch artist would. So play for the joy of it. Now, if you get applause, great. But don't fall into the pride trap, because it is nothing more than a trap, in my opinion. Okay, a couple more, and I really do want to hear what you guys think about this topic. I think it's important. It's sad that so many budding musicians just quit. So another problem that at least I see is you haven't been taught the correct technique on your instrument. So musically you're okay, but technique-wise you're not okay. And only that I can't do that over YouTube. I just can't. If I was sitting next to you, I can put your hands in the right position. So I've seen people, and I don't know if you'll be able to discern this. They're playing piano with what I call flat fingers, right? They're playing like this. And so the notes are correct, but the technique is wrong, right? You need to curl those fingers up and so one of the things a good teacher will do is to make sure they're watching your technique. It doesn't matter if you're on saxophone, that's a technique. If you're on the trombone, different technique. If you're on every instrument has technique kind of stuff. And what I mean by technique is the mechanics of how your body is interacting with your instrument. What fingers are you using? So don't neglect technique. If you're self-studying, you're going to have to figure out a way to figure out what is good technique on your instrument. The best way to do that is to study under a teacher, at least for, say, first 6 months, first year, or whatever. That's 80% of what they're showing you. It sort of looks like they're teaching you a song, but they're watching your technique. Now, when you're playing basic songs, you can get away with bad technique. When you're playing slower songs, you can get away with bad technique. But the more advanced you get, now you're going to have bad habits that you got to undo, but you don't want to do. So you don't want that. You want all the way from the beginning to be playing it good, proper sitting technique, standing technique, finger technique, body technique, how you relax into your instrument, or you all gripped up, and things like that will eventually, you'll plateau at a place where your technique can't take you any further. Hopefully that made some sense. Now, why am I saying all of this? It sounds all negative, doesn't it? No, really it's positive, because I want you to not be in these situations so that you can be the musician you were supposed to be. So a recap is, fall in love with music itself. Play for joy. If you get applause, you get applause. 99% of the music I've ever played, nobody has ever heard. My dogs have. Because my practice room, I had a basketball coach years ago, practice hard, then the game is easy. And I think that's also true in music, that you practice hard, get your practice focused on something specific. Now, before I jump off, let me give you a practice routine. It's not the only one, it's just works for me. So I walk into my studio, I got my cup of coffee. I try to practice around the same time every day. I got a routine. I know that I'm going to spend an hour. I don't just walk in and flop around. I know that I have 1 hour devoted. I have a space to practice. I have in my case, I have a dedicated room in my house that it's not a multitask room. It's my music room. Now, a lot of you don't have that. I understand. Maybe you got a corner, but when you go into that zone, that's what you're doing. You're not watching TV, not multitasking with Facebook, or you went in there for 1 hour to work on something. I recommend you have a practice journal. Exactly what are you working on today? So today I'm working on triad inversions. That's what I'm working on today. Now, before I go to work, I do my warm-ups, and I get my fingers going. Sometimes I'll do diatonic harmony. And now maybe I'll do that in a few keys. Things like that. Sometimes I'll do finger exercises. That's usually about 5 minutes. Depending on your instrument, find a warm-up that gets your mind stretched out. Get your fingers kind of stretched out. Find a warm up that's appropriate for your level and for your instrument. With kids, I usually go. And right up the scale we go, and that's a good rhythmic warm up as well as a good finger warm up. So for about 5 minutes, I'll do warm ups, and then when they get a little better, I'll dream up another warm up for them to do. The next thing I'll do is I'll play something from my repertoire. I'll play something. So I'll start with a song that I know. Could be anything. Could be Jesus Loves Me. Could be anything. Wherever your level is. So I did my warm-ups. I played something that I don't need. I don't need sheet music for it. I don't need a lead sheet or a fake book I just know this song. It's something I worked on last week or 2 months ago or whatever, my favorite song. Okay, so that may take another 5, 7, 8 minutes. So now I'm 10, 12 minutes in, right? Okay, now for a good 20, 30 minutes, I am going to work on something. Now, if you don't know what to work on, go back and watch if you're a beginner, go watch those beginner videos. If you're intermediate, I made a whole intermediate series, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Or your teacher will tell you what to work on. If you're working through a book, work on the next page of that book, or whatever it is you're working on. So now here comes the focus part. I need to focus on X, Y, Z. Not too much. Now, you don't want to drink from the fire hose. So now I work on that good 30 minutes. If you're a guitarist, maybe you're working on chord workings or chord inversions, or maybe you're working on pentatonic scales. Now after that, I am going to get my practice journal out and I'm going to say, how did I do? Okay, be honest. I should mention that it's good to record yourself. One of the things that's very useful in my studio, as you can see, I have not only musical gear, I have recording gear. And many times I thought I was sounding pretty good until I listened back to it. Whoa, because you're lost in the music and your critical ear will kick in. And you make a note. Remember, don't be too hard on yourself. You want progress and you want perfection. So this is not a beat yourself up time when you listen back. Yeah, man, I stink. I know that's not it. It's insightful that now you know what to work on tomorrow when you go to practice. That's all it is. Remember, even professional musicians practice. Maybe that's why they're so good at it, because they practice all the time. So something is only hard temporarily. It's hard until it becomes easy. Stay with hard. Don't run away from it. Stay with hard. Now, if it's too hard, maybe you're taking on too much. But if it's a little bit hard, lean into that. Lean into that until you defeat it. I don't know if I'm giving you music advice or life advice. I'm not sure, because I see a lot of metaphors here. I think some people are just too soft. They just want everything now and easy and quick. If it's a little bit hard, go right to it and say, okay, it's on. It's on. I'm going to figure out. I got the right technique. What's the problem here? Okay, is it me? Is it this? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I try to bring an uncluttered mind to practice. Piano doesn't care if you had a fight with your hubby or a fight with your wife or your kids are going crazy or your job is getting on your nerves or actually it's just a reverse for me. When I want respite, when I want to escape, I go right to my music room. I just do. When somebody cut me off on the freeway and I'm ready to cuss them out and all this kind of stuff, music just wipes the dust off of me. It just does. But some people bring their frustration to their instrument, and so they're playing more like that. It's like, whoa, you okay? So now my practice session, I'm 40 minutes in. I've got my warm up. I played my little repertoire, and I worked on something. Then I got my journal out. Or you could journal right in your music book. Those of you who are working from a music book, don't be afraid. Get a pencil out. You can erase it later. I can play this piece well at 40 BPM. Now the book told you to play it at 80 BPM. Okay, but right now I can play it at 40 BPM. Go up in the corner of that book, make a little note up there. It says today's date, 40 BPM. That's all you gotta put. Now tomorrow you're gonna try that at 50 BPM, right? See how you do. You want progress and perfection. Now in that piece you were working on in your book, well, that piece was 12 bars long. Now the first part you got, but that fifth bar is tripping you up. Draw a circle around that fifth bar, and let's just zero in there and get that ironed out, right? Hopefully that made sense. That reminds me that when I'm playing a piece that I'm learning, I believe in this process called chunking, right? Let me play Misty for you. Okay, that's a little bit of Misty. So if you're learning that piece, you say, well, I got this part. I got that part. I'm pretty good. I got this part. Now this part, I don't have to. Okay, so now we're going to chunk that. We're going to take that out of the song, and we're going to just practice that little bit. Now, by the way, that's not Misty. This could be any song. So we're going to chunk that. We're going to say, take that chunk out of the song, and we're going to go like this. We're going to do that slowly. Watch your fingering. Consistency counts. We have muscle memory, so if you play it wrong, you're going to play it the next time wrong. So you're going to get it right. Do it again. Now, you do it as slow as you need to do it, and then slowly bring the tempo up. I told you practice is boring. Now you say, well, maybe I can put a drum machine on or a metronome on, but your repertoire told you what to practice because you slapped over that part. You were honest with yourself. So we're going to clean that up. Keep doing that. until we make that easy. Then we're gonna have a little celebration. Say, ha ha, you thought you had me. I got that. You see how practice goes? Now you are on a stair step of rewards instead of a downslide of just constant frustration. Now, if it's way over your head, then you got to be honest with that too. Maybe you shouldn't be playing Misty. You should be playing. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What your level is, you cannot learn algebra if you don't know basic math. It just doesn't work. So you're over there in the algebra class and you can't add, subtract, multiply, and divide. But there's nothing wrong. I like being in kindergarten. Maybe that's why I have so many instruments. Because on this instrument, I'm in 10th grade. On that instrument, I'm in 9th grade. On this instrument, I'm in kindergarten. I like being in kindergarten. You get to take naps. You get free cookies and milk and stuff like that. Kill your pride to learn music. Learn music for the right reasons. If you're after applause and see me and all that kind of stuff, I have never been to one recital in my life, and I'm just fine. I survived just okay. I'm not really bashing people who do go to recitals, but I've never met a kid that says, "Oh, got a recital coming up, great." People dread that kind of stuff. They call it playing music, not working at it. I mean, it shouldn't be that frustrating. With the right instruction, the right guidance, and the right road, you can make it all the way to advanced levels if you just take it step by step by step by step by step, and enjoy the trip. I'll say this and then I'm gonna jump off. Music is very therapeutic for me, as you probably can hear. Nobody has to, my mom doesn't have to tell me to practice, my dad doesn't have to tell me, I just feel funny if I don't practice. It's very therapeutic for me, and I have filed it in my mind that way. And hopefully that will always be the case. I really do enjoy playing music. And so I hope you do too, and I hope this video has helped you get on a right path so that you can achieve your musical goals. If you have any questions at all, drop them in the comment section below. And if I missed something, let's have a discussion about what's going on with people. They love music, but they just quit. They just quit. Have yourself a great day. Mike in Detroit signing off. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.